New York Mets baseball is on the air. Today it's the New York Mets and the New York Yankees from Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and it's presented by Citi. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Sleepy's, the only mattress professionals. Remind you to set your clocks ahead this weekend. By Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by Ram Truck Month, going on now. Another beautiful day in paradise. I guess you could describe those clouds as a bit wispy and overcast sky, but plenty of sunshine peeking through those clouds. Revelers on the beach, and our first chance this spring to see Jacob deGrom take the mound for the Amazons. Hi, everybody. Gary Apple alongside Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez, Gary Cohen on college basketball assignment. And again, we're going to get a chance to see Jacob deGrom pitch here this afternoon, coming off a 14-win season a year ago. Ronnie, he's ready. We got a chance to speak to him. He's champing to get on the mound.
Well, first, Gary, welcome to the booth. It's great to have you here. What a season deGrom had last season when you think about it. You mentioned 14 wins, 3 more in the postseason, 216 innings total. Made his first All-Star game where he was great in that inning. The thing about deGrom, ever since he came up and had his first start against this New York Yankees squad 3 seasons ago, is that he just gets better, it seems, every year. He has the ability to spot that fastball. His breaking ball has gotten better since he's been in the big leagues. And I think when you watch him, he's got room for improvement, which is hard to believe. 216
innings a year ago, regular season and the postseason. 217 innings, if you count that one tremendous All-Star game inning that he pitched. Also going to get our first chance this afternoon to see Curtis Granderson. Keith, he's been dealing with a bout of conjunctivitis, but he's feeling fine. He's got the contacts in. He's ready to go.
Well, he's coming off a terrific season. His first 2 months last year, he got off to a very shaky start, but when it all came out in the end, he wound up hitting, climbed up to 259. But in the leadoff role, he scored 98 runs last year for this ball club, had 91 walks, and on top of that, a leadoff hitter to hit 26 home runs and drive in 70. That's what you look for in a leadoff hitter. So he had a terrific year last year. He is the catalyst of this club, and he's also someone you don't have to worry about when you come to the ballpark. He's going to be in the lineup. He played 157 games last year.
Well, Matt Harvey made his first start of the spring yesterday. We get a chance to see Jacob deGrom make his first start of the spring today. It's the New York Mets and the New York Yankees from Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie, and first pitch is on the way.
Hi.
Mets Baseball on SNY is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the New York Mets. Who but W.B. Mason? By Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. By Ford, for great deals on Ford cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Visit tristateford.com. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in-store or online at mybobs.com. Get to Citi Field Saturday night, April 9th. Mets go to take on the Phillies. The first fireworks night of 2016 presented by Coca-Cola. After the game, fans can enjoy an exciting fireworks show that will light up the sky. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. We get a look at today's pitchers, brought to you by Cadillac. Jacob deGrom going to start for the Amazons. Jim Henderson, Jerry Blevins, Addison Reed, all scheduled to pitch today. Of course, things can change. Others can pitch, but that is who is scheduled to be on the mound for the Amazons today. So it's Jacob deGrom, Ivan Nova taking the hill for the Yanks. At first pitch when we come back. Jacob deGrom making his way out of the Mets dugout. Sellout crowd here at Tradition Field today. Only standing room being sold is deGrom, 27 years old, 6'4", 180 pounds, getting set to make his first start of the spring. As we get a look at the lineup he's going to be facing today, it's presented by Toyota. Yankees didn't bring a lot of regulars today, but Didi Gregorius is going to be at the top. Chase Headley down at third base. He's batting third. Chris Sanchez is the catcher. He's in a battle for the backup catcher job for Joe Girardi and the Yankees.
Well, the Mets are in the meat of their rotation now. Harvey pitched 3 innings yesterday, deGrom today, and Syndergaard tomorrow. I talked a little bit about deGrom in the open, but what he did in the postseason, a lot of times your game will sometimes go down against good hitting. His game was elevated in the post with 3 wins.
And we'll take a quick look at your Metropolitan defense, brought to you by Lexus. Diaz out in left field. Cespedes gets to start out in center. Curtis, of course, we mentioned the open. His first start. And Rivera getting a lot of playing time this early in spring training, giving him a good look over there. He's got a nice little swing. I like him.
Didi Gregorius fouling away the first pitch from Jacob deGrom, 26 years old, born in the Netherlands, spent much of his life in Curacao. And he ropes one into right field for a base hit.
It was interesting. I think the second pitch of the game, deGrom went with the changeup. A lot of times pitchers early in spring will try to work on certain pitches, and that's what it was, just a high changeup.
Jacob deGrom, 2014 National League Rookie of the Year, an All-Star last season, as that brings up the left fielder, Aaron Hicks, who was acquired from the Twins. He's versatile, adds a left-handed bat to this Yankees outfield.
Well, Aaron Hicks, he's a guy that was brought up probably prematurely with the Twins in 2013. For the season, only hit 192 that year. Hit a little better last year. But great talent.
Who's that back there?
Hicks came over to the Yankees in exchange for the catcher, John Ryan Murphy. Here's the 1-0 from deGrom. And it's bounced right back to the pitcher. Cabrera for one, on to first, and a double play, and Jacob deGrom. Quick work right there.
Well, a little PFP here, Ronnie. Nice. That's what they work on in spring. Beautifully done. Perfect feed to the shortstop, Cabrera. Tailor-made. Big leagues, you've got to turn that.
It's only a small thing, guys, but did you see the patience that deGrom had? That's why he's such a good fielder. He knew he had plenty of time. He made sure he made the right throw, and Cabrera toast. Easy play for him.
I've liked what I've seen thus far from Cabrera at shortstop. Makes all the plays. They talked about his range not being so great, but he's making all the plays. He's not a fancy Dan. He uses two hands. Been impressive thus far.
Chase Headley steps in. Played in 156 games for the Yankees a year ago. I'm interested, so much is made of, getting acclimated with the new double play combination of Walker and Cabrera. But I think you've got to get on the same page with your pitchers too when turning double plays like we just saw.
Well, I think people sometimes forget when the pitchers do have their PFP, pitchers fielding practice, a lot of times you spend it with those infielders on the backfields trying to get that timing in. So they'll know, like a Colt Malone or deGrom, excellent fielders that are going to give you a good throw, and they'll also know the pitchers who are not very good fielders that they'll be expecting maybe a bad toss.
It's been unusual, Gary, that this spring training. Usually the everyday players, the starters, kind of get eased into spring, but Terry Collins has opted this year to get his starters out there, at least on the home game. Strike three, backdoor slide ball.
Jacob deGrom getting through that first inning. Mets coming up. No score in Port St. Lucie. Mets coming to bat, bottom of the first inning. Their lineup is presented by Geico. Curtis Granderson in the leadoff spot, his first appearance of the spring. Yoenis Cespedes, first time in the field this year. He's batting third. Lucas Duda at his customary cleanup spot. Travis d'Arnaud is behind the plate, and he's hitting sixth.
Something we saw a lot last year with Curtis, who's become more of a pull hitter. I'm sorry, Ronnie, go ahead with Nova.
No, just Nova coming off Tommy John last year, only made 17 starts, 6-11 with that high ERA.
Look at that.
Granderson slicing one into the bullpen out there, just foul.
It's amazing to me. The relievers in the pen, they sit on those chairs, and one of them just got waffled with a ball on one hop because he was too, lazy is the wrong word, but he wouldn't get up and get out of the way. It's happened for the history of baseball.
Nice.
Curtis Granderson, his first hit of the spring into center field as Dustin Fowler sends it back in. And why is that, Ronnie?
But let's keep to the defense first.
Well, hold that thought.
Okay.
That's the Yankee defense, brought to you by Ram. And you got Hicks, Fowler, and Puello in the outfield. D. Gregorius, second year as a Yankee. Headley, of course, the big contract after a good one season at San Diego. And Gary Sanchez behind the plate.
Asdrubal Cabrera steps in. Got a hit, couple of RBIs on Monday against the Tigers.
Gary, you asked me before, why does that happen in the bullpen? People down there usually call it the rock pile because you have the relievers that are reliving all the stories from last night, maybe their beach day from the yesterday afternoon, golf, sometimes forget a game's going on.
Asdrubal Cabrera 1 for 8 so far this spring. Yoenis Cespedes on deck. Here's the 1-1 from Nova. Bounce to shortstop. Gregorius to second for one. On to first. 6-4-3 double play.
Well, so far, ditto innings here. We always like the double play in spring training, folks. You might ask why? Well, I'll tell you why. It speeds up the game.
I love the honesty, Keith.
4:30 Reds for dinner, Keith.
The early bird, we're in Florida. Brings up Yoenis Cespedes, who takes the first pitch outside. Ivan Nova, 29 years old, as Ronnie said a moment ago, came back from Tommy John surgery. Got off to a pretty good start when he did come back, but then lost 7 of his final 8 starts last season as Cespedes drills one into right field. Second hit of the inning. And well, I know he's been working with Kevin Long, and great to see him sending a line drive out to right field.
Well, if you've been noticing in the papers, Kevin Long, the hitting coach, has been working with Cespedes to use the opposite field. Kind of got into a pull mode late in the season with the terrific 2 months he had for the Mets. There's Kevin. Another shift on for Duda. We can get used to that. I mean, we don't have to get to a point where we don't even have to mention it. I mean, they're just going to put the shift on right there, the old pyramid shift.
So that's our goal for this year. We're not going to mention the shift to Duda unless they don't shift. Then we'll mention it.
That's right. So we'll just have our director point the camera, and you folks, you see it. We don't have to tell you.
Well, speaking of that, it's great to have Bill Webb back in the truck today.
You know, Nova's an interesting, a great competitive camp here for the Yankees with starting pitching. You've heard a lot about their bullpen. Chapman, of course, who's suspended for the first 30 games, and Miller and Betances. But their starting staff is going to have some competition between Sabathia, Pineda, Nova, Severino, Tanaka to try to fight for that 5th spot.
1-1 to Duda. And he sends one into the shift right on cue. And so the Mets, couple of hits. No runs, one left on. We go to the second. No score. Justin Ackley leads off for the Yankees in the top of the second. Takes a first pitch ball up and out of the zone. Ackley hit .231 season ago, 10 home runs.
Well, you see the pitching coach Larry Rothschild talking to Gary Sanchez. This is something you never saw a long time ago, but the pitching coach and the catcher spent a lot of time together. When you think of Sanchez, 18 home runs last year in the minor leagues, he is a great prospect, kind of inhibited in making the ball club because of Brian McCann. But he's a guy, offense first, defense second, so they're still working on his D.
DeGrom, head on the count. Well, there's the Yankees manager, Joe Girardi, 9th year on the job. One of the longest tenured managers in Yankees history.
Oh, that's amazing. That if you told me to guess, I wouldn't have guessed 9 years. I would have said half a dozen. Back in the playoffs again last year, but had to play in the wild card game, and Dallas Keuchel ate him up.
3-hitter beat the Yankees 3-0. That one's hammered to the gap out in right center. Ackley with the leadoff single here in the top of the second.
Ackley might be a little bit like Ben Zobrist for the Yankees this year. He can play first, second, the outfield. He's going to be their utility guy.
Gary Sanchez ranked as the second best prospect in the Yankees organization, according to Baseball America. Pops it up. Walker goes out. Sunglasses down, and Neil Walker puts it away for the first out.
It's supposed to be warm up in New York. This
70 today.
Yeah, 82. We got you beat.
I've been down here for about a week and a half, and it's been really nice. No rain. We've had some overcast skies, but nothing to interrupt workouts or games. It's been nice. It's hammered into center field by Chris Parmelee.
Well, deGrom right now is getting his third base hit, second in the inning. He's getting his fastballs up. And this is there's Terry. Thought that ball up in the strike zone. Usually deGrom is knees in black.
And he's also in spring training throwing 92, 93, not the 96 or 97 you're going to see.
So this is a first time out there tuning it up. These guys haven't got ball clubs to make anymore. They're on the squad. They are established major leaguers. You ease yourself in. Start.
Davidson Romero takes a called strike one. Romero, a career minor leaguer, 29 years old, 2 for 12 so far this spring.
There's Dick Scott, the replacement for Bob Guerin. He'll be the bench coach for Terry Collins this season.
I've got to go say hello to him. I just keep forgetting that the Mets have got a new bench coach.
Romero out in the shallow right field. Granderson with the second out of the inning. What about that adjustment for Terry Collins? You know, you're so used to having Bob Guerin by his side. Is that a big deal?
I think it is a big deal. I think when you're a manager, you count on your staff. You know, Ned Yost said it nicely with Kansas City. He said when he started managing, he felt like he had to take care of everything. And once he started trusting his coaching staff, then everything became much easier. That's what you want to do as a manager. You want to make sure that bench coach points out anything that you might miss in the course of the 3-hour game.
Cesar Puello steps in, the former Met farmhand. He was on the DL for the entire season last year and then finally released by the Mets on the 19th of August.
Well, one thing about Guerin was that Guerin worked with the catchers. Bob was an ex-catcher and was able to provide a lot of help to Darno and Plawecki. I think the number one role for the bench coach, I mean, hopefully he's, giving suggestions once in a while, offering suggestions as in the course of a game. But he's in control of that lineup card that's pasted up in the dugout. He's doing all the scratching when there's substitutions made to make sure that everything is in order.
And you're right, Keith. I think it's like any other relationship. If the communication is really good between manager and bench coach, then the trust is going to be more. If they have trouble communicating, then a manager might not use his bench coach as much.
Well, is it a different role for different managers and bench coaches? The dynamic?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's an ongoing kind of relationship also, right? Bob Guerin was here for a long time. So when you're here for a long time, there's a lot of things that you can take for granted. Terry now with Dick Scott new at the helm, they've got to really start over, where Dick Scott can anticipate things that Terry might need within the course of a game.
It's 1-2 on Puello. Runners on first and second here in the top of the second. No score. Mets and the Yankees. And that's in there for a called third strike. And so the Yankees get a couple of singles and can't do much with it. We go to the bottom of the second. Mets and the Yanks scoreless. Walker, Jarno, and De Aza scheduled up for the Mets here in the bottom of the second. Walker a solo shot off Mark Lowe on Monday against the Tigers, his first in a Mets uniform. Grounds one down the first baseline, foul.
Walker had himself a home run a couple days ago, his first home run. He and Lucas Duda went deep. Lucas really had a terrific game 2 days ago, the game we had televised against the Bravos, I believe it was. I'm not sure. No, Detroit.
Tigers.
Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah. He swung the bat great. Ronnie, you weren't here. He had 2 line drives over the shortstop's head, one a double play, bullets, and then he had a pulled a home run.
Here's the 2-1 to Walker. Takes it low. That's 3-1 now. And you know, when we look at Walker face Nova right here, you guys, we were talking during the break about the fragility of a starting pitcher, and you know, he came up with such fanfare, and 26-7 through his first 50 major league starts as Walker walks, and then the Tommy John surgery, and now just trying to find a spot on the staff.
Well, 16 wins in 2011 and got off to a great start. But like you said, the fragility of Major League Baseball is you could be on top of the moon in yesteryear and then fighting for a job a year later.
Travis d'Arnaud up for the Mets, first time today, 6'2", 210 pounds.
Another one.
Bangs one down to third. Headley goes to second for one, and the throw is high. Over the head of Romero.
Well, should have been 2. Taylor made, nice easy hop. Perfect feed. Hand grenade to first base. Skied it.
Now, Ackley was a former #1 pick who was an infielder. Then they moved him to the outfield in Seattle. Usually you see middle infielders catch it with 2 hands and exchange it. He did not. So you see his play defensively in the infield not that strong yet, or something he's working on here in spring.
Alejandro De Aza is having a very good spring so far. 4 for 9, takes first pitch up and out.
Well, De Aza, Sandy Alderson acquired him after they felt that, and I felt, and I'm sure all you folks out there felt, that Cespedes wasn't coming back to the Mets. And now he's kind of like the 5th outfielder.
Oh, down to third, diving stop by Headley, and he gets the lead runner.
Beautiful play by Headley.
Does have a regal sound.
If he had errors last season, the errors he had, many of them came on throws by Headley, but that one spot on.
He's got a sure glove over there. He's got good soft hands.
Kevin Plawecki is the next batter with 2 outs. Plawecki hitting .286 this spring, and I think it was interesting to hear Sandy Alderson and some of those in the Mets front office. I don't think anything's guaranteed for this guy as well, and it brings up an interesting scenario. Is he better served on the bench here, or better served playing every day at AAA? I know where he'd rather be.
Well,
we know that.
Yeah, big league time and big league money.
Right. Well, he was saying he learns more being here.
Well, I think I totally understand why he wants to be here. Everyone wants to be in the big leagues. But maybe what serves the Mets best because of d'Arnaud's injury past is that Plawecki is playing every day and ready to go if the call is made.
And even if d'Arnaud was not injury prone, which is, now that could change, but early in his career he has been. There's 6 off days in April, Gary, and that's a lot of off days. The first week of the season they have 3 off days, incredibly, 2 back-to-back before the home opener. And maybe it will be better for Plawecki, maybe the month of April, to play every day, then get him up in May.
Plawecki in an 0-2 hole. Nova. Breaking ball gets away, and Diaz takes off for second.
Diaz has got good instincts on the bases. Yeah. He has really displayed his skills here. Journeyman outfielder. He has played really well early. He's got a ball club to make. He knows his situation. He's a journeyman major leaguer.
5 teams last 3 years for Diaz. White Sox, O's, Red Sox, Giants, and now the Mets. Well, Tapper, Nova off the mound. Tries to barehand it and can't come up with it. And look at this. Diaz gets caught off third. And he's tagged out. So, Nova, not so sure-handed. Ruled an infield single, but Diaz tagged out to end the inning. We go to the top of the third. Struble Cabrera and the Mets, no score with the Yankees. First of 2 meetings between these two teams. Yanks will take on the Mets back in Tampa later in the month. Dustin Fowler leads it off for the Yankees. 21 years old, takes the first pitch up high.
You saw his numbers with high A Tampa, but he started in low A, and he had 70 RBIs last year with only 1 home run. So Fowler has the ability to drive some runs in.
Hammered just wide of first.
That bat has said ouch.
I asked deGrom last week about the hype surrounding this Mets starting staff and whether he hears it, whether he acknowledges it, reads about it. He said, look, we all hear it, but refuse to get caught up in it. We have to do our jobs.
Well, the great thing about being a starting pitcher is that your day is once every 5th day. So that's what you have to be ready to do. Yeah, there's a lot of hype, but they're not going to buy into it. I pitched with some deGrom airmails one. I pitched with some outstanding staffs, and you don't ever think of that stuff. That was a breaking ball that never broke. What was it? Len Barker threw one on top of the was it backdrop? I think Len Barker. That was a Len Barker right there. But I was just saying that when you're in the middle of it, you don't really think about that stuff. You just are have the blinders on for your day. I'm pitching on Friday, the next Wednesday. That's all you're thinking about. Because you feel, and I know that there's been a lot of press about it, if you're a young guy like deGrom, you want to make your iron. And the way you make your iron is to win 14, 15 games a year. And and play 5, 6, 7 years.
3-2 pitch, fouled back. All right, so you speak about making the iron, and we know Jacob was not thrilled with the fact that didn't get the sort of raise he was looking for this year.
Well, that's just the way it is, and like I said the other day, it's popped up on the infield.
Cabrera settles under it.
Well, I was robbed.
I mean, Zach Greinke now has gotten to the point where it's $1 million per start.
Look at that. Kershaw and Greinke, wow. $34 million bucks.
I didn't think of it that way.
It's a big yard for every start.
Yep. So as far as Jacob's concerned, I thought he and his agent handled it well. He's not happy, but that's the way the rules are. And that old Led Zeppelin song from the first album, Your Time Is Gonna Come. All he's got to do is run up around 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 wins, and he's got arbitration, and he will have his first year of leverage going into negotiations.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a two-way street. I don't think the players are cutting the teams any breaks when they are negotiating big deals.
And I think what we tend to forget here is that these guys, before they make the major leagues, are developed somewhere. So they are invested with, the 3, 4, 5 years that they're in the minor leagues. So you tend to forget about those kind of things. Now, am I pro ownership? Of course not. I'm pro player. I want him to make as much as he can make. But it's just not his time. That being said, he's under team control for a long time. And he's 27, not 22. So, there is, I think, if you're in his camp, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, you're like, those years add up. And at some point, I'm going to be 30, 31 trying to go get my money.
The Mets have control over that pretty much the entire rotation outside of Bartolo. And Bartolo is, 42 now?
Yep. Little bouncer. Gregorius has good speed, and deGrom gets over there. Quickly bounces off the mound. Well, we get a look at some numbers on the Mets starting staff from a season ago. Widely considered to be best staff in all of baseball.
I mean, you strike out the third most, you walk the least. I mean, 248. I mean, everything is just off the boards. Great.
It's something to be very excited about. Looking forward, the future is very bright. Find a way to keep these guys healthy and getting them out there every 5th day, and you're not going to run across any long losing streaks. The odds of this quality and caliber of starting pitchers to go through a rotation and all 5 of them, let alone maybe 4, have a bad outing, is slim to none.
Aaron Hicks with 2 outs. Swings through a off-speed offering from deGrom, who, by the way, the numbers last year on deGrom, when you really look and break them down, 205 strikeouts, 38 walks.
His whip was under 1. I mean, that's hard to do as a starting pitcher. When I look at this staff, and when Wheeler comes back at the All-Star break, there's probably 15 to 20 great young arms in the game, 27 years or younger, and the Mets might have 5 of them in their rotation.
That's a fair ball down the right field line. Hicks on his horse around second and got caught up over in the bullpen. I think that's going to be a ground rule double.
There you go. Again, the bullpen not moving causes the double.
Now this, technically, Gary, is a ground rule double because it's in play, not the ball that bounces over the fence, and everybody calls it a ground rule double. Look at that. Oh, Olay.
I'm wrong. They did get out of the way that time, but it's stuck under the bench. I mean, when you think of today's ballparks, most of the bullpens are behind the fence. Only like Wrigley, I believe, has the one on the field that kind of play can happen. Oh, Oakland has it too, but Oakland's is about 400 feet from the foul line.
Ridiculously ridiculous foul territory
for you ex-hitters.
And
yeah.
Candlestick was bad that way too. There's Jerry Blevins, the left-hander, coming back off the forearm. Was it a fracture or did he break it?
It's a fracture, I believe, to start. It was a hairline.
Yeah.
And then when he slipped on the curb, and I asked him about that, he said didn't want to forget his iPad or his phone, didn't want it to be in the car and melt, and so he went back and
melt.
He was afraid in the hot summer sun.
Oh yes,
it would get broken if he left it in the car. Headley into right field. That's going to bring in Aaron Hicks with the first run of the game. So the Yankees have jumped on top and gotten a run off Jacob deGrom here in the top of the third inning.
Just a hanging breaking ball there by Jacob. We saw some good ones early. This one a hanger to Headley and good hitting.
You saw that big large circle on the backside of that ball, the seam created. When usually it's a large circle on the ball, it's usually a hanger.
Dustin Ackley, his second at bat, singled in the second.
That circle on the ball, and nice. Headley stays back. Ball just stayed out over the middle and down.
There's another one to the right side. Duda smothers it, steps on the bag, and that is the third out of the inning. But the Yankees get a run off Jacob deGrom and take the lead 1-0.
Well, we're going to show you two double plays. One of the Cabrera on your left, the shortstop. Going to have a little bit bigger glove. He doesn't have the pivot to worry about. The second baseman, watch this, got deep into his pocket, and that thus gave him the tough exchange. He probably didn't have a proper grip on the ball on the exchange. But the second basemans, the good ones, they just kind of, the ball barely just taps their glove. They make the exchange so quick. And of all the infielders, as I said, there's a ground ball to third.
Rivera tries to beat it out, but the throw by Headley is in time. First out of the inning.
The middle infielders, and particularly the second baseman, have the smallest gloves of anybody on the field defensively because they have to turn that double play. The third baseman can have a bigger glove because he's only very rarely, if he has a play at third base for a force out, it's no exchange to be made. So that was very interesting that we saw those two situations right there. But it's an art. Second base is not an easy position to play.
Curtis with the base hit in his first at bat. Keith, best you've ever saw? Second base, turning the double play.
Davey Cash was pretty good at it. Tito Fuentes was pretty doggone good.
And a shift.
Granderson takes it outside. Granderson, as Ronnie said, singled in the first inning and then was wiped out by the 6-4-3 double play.
Manny Trio.
That's right.
With the Phillies.
How about Joe Morgan?
Joe was good.
Yeah.
Joe was good. Joe was just a great player.
Yeah.
Since it's the Yankees today, how about Horace Clark?
That's right. Through the lean years, right?
Very lean years. Not many people in the ballpark in the Bronx at that point. Two-one pitch hammered out to center field. Fowler has a beat on it. Settles under it. Second out of the inning. Well, 3 o'clock this afternoon back in New York at Citi Field, the memorial service for Shannon Ford to celebrate her life and Shannon passing away after a long battle with cancer last week. A valued and certainly very much loved member of the Mets organization. So our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers very much with her husband and her 2 young children this afternoon. Cabrillion up in the Yankees bullpen as Cabrera fouls it away. Jacob deGrom, his day is done. 3 innings, 5 hits, and earned run. He struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. Here's the 0-2 to Cabrera.
Cabrera switch hitter, better left-hand hitter than right-hand hitter. And he's no slouch from the right side, just a better lefty.
He had a pretty good second half last year with the Rays. His defense was better last year. His bat seemed to perk up in the second half.
Well, the Rays have had a history of recent note of having some middle infielders go over there and have some good years. Logan Forsythe had a very good year for them last year. You talked about Cabrera.
Cabrera stays alive. You know, Ivan Nova last year, wasn't last year, but 17 consecutive starts in which he got a decision, which is not certainly the norm. He was the first one to do that, wasn't he, since back in like 1942?
Well, it's all right to get a decision, but not when it's 6-11 in the 17 starts.
Cabrera goes down on a called third strike. Jerry Blevins making his way in from the bullpen. Yankees lead at 1-0. Gary Sanchez steps in against Jerry Blevins, making his third appearance of the spring.
Well, disappointing for Blevins last year, only 7 games because of that season-ending injury, but he'll play an important role on this ball club.
Hard hit ball. Down to Rivera at third, doesn't let him eat it up, and gets the out. TJ Rivera, young man from the Bronx, getting the start down at third base today.
Made that look easy. That was not an easy hop right there.
What's the key, Keith? Really just staying down on the ball?
Always stay down, stay in front whenever you can, and you got 2 hands. 2 hands to eat with, fork and knife, and catch a baseball with.
Chris Parmelee singled in the second inning, facing the 32-year-old Jerry Blevins.
So you're in charge of fundamentals and etiquette for us here in the booth.
That's exactly right.
I'm deferring to you two for everything today.
No.
I mean, sitting in Gary's seat is a daunting task to begin with, and then sitting next to a couple of legends like yourselves.
I would warn you that do not put your fate in our hands.
Nice. Walker to his right makes it look easy for the second out.
You know what Walker has when you watch him play second base, Keith? He's got nice, good footwork. You know, he gets in the proper position to make the plays.
Well, the Mets have certainly got a defensive upgrade in second base. Maybe a little scale back, maybe not the offensive player that Murph was, but still plenty of offense. But I think you're going to find much better defense out there, and more double plays turned as a result.
Zavenson, Romero, 10 years in the Twins minor league organization and spent last year in the Pirates minor leagues.
But interesting enough, if you put Walker and Murphy's numbers back to back, very similar numbers offensively. It's a big kid. The Yankees have some big people on the field today. Gary Sanchez and Romero here.
I think I was reading they've got like 10 guys 6'4" and above. Pop straight up. Plawecki can't find it, but Rivera can. Plawecki had no idea where it was. I'm not sure Blevins did either, but Darno, I should say. He's trying. Darno's like, where is that?
Which way did he go, George?
Only 90 feet away.
Mets Spring Training Baseball is live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet. James Kaprielian is the new Yankees pitcher, 6 feet 4 inches tall, 200 pounds, former first-round pick out of UCLA last year. He's an impressive young man.
Tim Leary's alma mater, UCLA.
The Bruins.
Interesting. Kaprielian was a relief pitcher when he first went to UCLA, and they converted him to a starter.
Facing Yoenis Cespedes, who singled at his first at bat in the first inning. Kaprielian, a part of that 2013 UCLA team that won the national championship. Addison Reed up in the Mets bullpen, slated to pitch next.
I like this young man's motion. Very tight mechanics.
Cespedes sawed off. Dustin Ackley over for the first out in the bottom of the 4th inning.
I guess I shouldn't have thrown it out there. What I mean by that very tight is that there's no moving parts. It's very simple. And when you have simple mechanics, you can repeat them.
You see a lot more of that today, Ronnie. A lot more cookie cutter type deliveries, which would have been a positive for me. I hated those guys that had unorthodox windups and deliveries. They were hard to pick up.
Lucas Duda, 27 home runs, 73 RBIs a season ago, following a season in which he hit 30 and drove in 92. So the Mets would like to see him drive in more runs this year.
Well, not be so streaky. I mean, he was. I've never seen a player that I played with, because you can't make a comparison to guys that you played, whether it was in division or not. But playing every day, never saw one have such a streaky year as Lucas did last year.
Bouncing one into the shift. Am I allowed to say that?
No, not anymore.
Second out of the inning.
We'll get there it is. Chase Headley, the third baseman, is the one playing in the right field. So Ackley makes that play 4-3.
As Neil Walker steps in, I visited with Lucas and a really nice chat about what he's trying to do. And you mentioned it, Keith, to get out of those prolonged slumps and streaks he goes through. And he said he's trying to shorten up his leg kick a little bit, try to get everything a little bit tighter. Yeah, tighter, like in a golf swing, the less movement. And same thing with a baseball swing, I would imagine.
Well, you know what? Darryl Strawberry had a big leg kick, but Darryl could hang and was a good off-speed hitter. Lucas has yet to prove to the big league pitching that he's a good off-speed hitter. They like to throw him the changeup and the off-speed stuff, and he can't wait on it. And I've talked to him about it, and he just said he just can't wait. So I can understand maybe trying to control and lessen the leg kick so he's not suspended in air. It's almost like if you have a big leg kick, you're kind of suspended. And but Darryl would always stay back on that back foot and can really hang, and he was so strong, and so was Lucas. Obviously, we saw Darryl hit with one-handed balls out of the ballpark on off-speed pitches. Lucas is capable of that.
To me, what really separates when a player, first, he has to learn his own mechanics and be good at hitting the baseball, right? But I think what makes players better past that is when they understand how they're being pitched. And that's the thing that always shocks me about Lucas. He can go through a long stretch where guys will pitch him the same every at bat, and it's hard for him to make the adjustment.
Neil Walker goes down on strikes. Mets 3 up, 3 down. We go to the 5th inning. Yankees lead at 1-0. Around the majors, presented by Citi. Aaron Altair going to miss 4 to 6 months because of a wrist injury, required surgery. The Orioles agreeing to a deal with Pedro Alvarez. More juice for that lineup down there in Baltimore. And the Red Sox, how about this? Michael Kopech, one of their top prospects, fractured his wrist because he got into an altercation with one of his teammates.
Yeah, he threw a punch.
Gosh, you would think a pitcher.
Yeah, well,
I probably wasn't thinking is the issue.
I've known a lot of crazy pitchers that want to fight.
That's right.
That doesn't make sense, though, does it? When it's your livelihood.
I got in a fight with one in Oklahoma City when I was 19 years old. We were just talking about it.
How'd that turn out?
John Denny and I.
Oh, wow. Ken
Boyer came in and said, one more punch, $500. I was making $750 a month. That stopped it. It was the end of that fight.
Cuello into deep center field, but right there is Yoenis Cespedes, the edge of the track to run it down.
Well, I tell you what, Cespedes had a tough time in the World Series defensively, but he can play center. He can play the heck out of left. Strong arm, good range to his left and right, can go back on the ball. I think he's going to be perfectly fine in center field.
Dustin Fowler is up next for the Yankees. New Mets pitcher is Addison Reed, making his third appearance of the spring.
Looks like Reed is going to be the bridge to Familia.
And they've changed his mechanics. If you remember when he came over last year, he was more three-quarter. He is more on top of the ball, Addison Reed now, trying to get some more sink and run on that fastball.
I would think more run. He throws very hard. I think a split finger would really do him well. Any hard thrower that comes in for an inning, if they can throw that splitter, it's a heck of a pitch. This is
popped
trouble.
Up, shallow center field. In comes Cespedes. Second out of the inning.
See, there's a sun field today. Look at the shadows right behind the backs of the middle infielders, which means it's right in your face.
I was going to say that Cespedes Cadillac on that ball, but he's more of a Lamborghini and Alfa Romeo guy.
He had it all the way. There's the shadows right there. You can see just behind the players. Of course, we show that shot for you now. The sun went behind a cloud, so it's not really pronounced.
Didi Gregorius singled in the first and grounded down to first base in the third. He's 1 for 2. Lugo up in the Mets bullpen.
Well, this is the Yankees' second game over here on the East Coast, I believe. They brought a lot of players on this trip because they had to play 2 games.
Lost to the Marlins yesterday, 1-0. CC Sabathia. A couple of shutout innings, bounced down to Duda, and there's Reed off the mound. So 1-2-3 inning for Rick Reed, and we go to the bottom of the 5th with the Mets still down 1-0.
Before the Cadillac fee shook the establishment.
Gary Apple back alongside Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez. And look at what the Yankees did. 2015 finished 87-75, second in the American League East. Lost the one-game wild card to the Houston Astros. By the way, before we went to break, I said Rick Reed, not Addison Reed. So I stand corrected.
That was brilliant. Rick Reed, thanks you. What did they used to call Rick Reed when he was with the Mets? He's kind of like a mini Greg Maddux, right? Poor man's Greg Maddux. I didn't really get to see Rick Reed pitch that much in a Mets uniform. That was my blackout period.
You had one too?
Yes.
Okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
Jeez. There's 5 years lost in my life.
Travis Garneau up there for the Mets.
For you folks at home, what we're talking about is when you retire from the game, very few players finish on top of their game. The game just pushes you out.
Right.
So when you leave with your tail between your legs, and the last thing you want to watch is any baseball.
Yep.
You don't watch it on TV. You don't read about it, and that's the blackout period. And for me, it was 5 years.
That very few athletes get to go out like Peyton Manning, Derek Jeter, Ted Williams,
Sandy Koufax.
It's, you know, you pushed out of the game because of injury or whatever, and you're embarrassed. You're a shell of your former self. I didn't watch baseball for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
What got me back to watching baseball, and I was done. I was out of uniform. My last year was 1990. Was the Sosa McGuire home run.
Oh,
that got me watching again.
Wow.
With the NFL going through it right now, Calvin Johnson stepping away in Detroit.
It's different.
Nobody believed he was going to retire, and he said, you know what, I am sort of following in Barry Sanders, but go ahead.
But what we're seeing in the NFL is because of the CTE issue,
right,
is that a lot of these players are like, I'm done. I've made enough cash, and I want to be able to walk and talk at some point in my later years.
Okay, correct.
James Kaprielian, his second inning of work for the Yankees.
He's got a nice arm, nice little breaking ball. He's got that shoulder lift too late, Ronnie. Hides the ball from the hitter. That front shoulder elevates.
For a young pitcher like this is his chance to show Joe Girardi what he's got. And when they have to make decisions, if he doesn't make the team out of spring training, which probably won't happen, when they have to make decisions during the regular season, they'll go back to, boy, Kaprielian looked good in spring training. He's having a good time of it in AA or AAA. Let's bring him up.
See, watch that front left shoulder right now. Watch it come up. See it lift? It's hard to pick the ball up out of his hand when the guy does that.
Behind 3-1 on De Aza. And he misses as De Aza walks. Fifth inning recap presented by Ford. Yankees have the lead. It's 1-0. Jacob deGrom, his first outing of the spring, gave up 5 hits in a row. He struck out 2. Yoenis Cespedes, 1 for 2 with a single. His first game this spring playing the field. He's been strictly a DH so far, but getting into game action in the field today.
Are those nylons?
Kevin Plawecki pinch hitting, singles into center field. And take it back. Plawecki, our DH today.
It's always hard, and there's the swing right here. Off the end of the bat. You'll take it any way you can get it.
Brings up TJ Rivera, who bounced down to third in the third inning. Split last season between Binghamton and Las Vegas. But there's one thing about Rivera. There's really no place for him here at the moment, but the guy has shown the ability to hit. Hit 325 last season, 349 between St. Lucie and Binghamton.
Well,
the prior year.
He's, you take your steps up. He played Double-A last year. Triple-A is on the border right here. He's right there for him this year. You got to keep it up and gradually move up the food chain.
One and one on Rivera. We talk a lot and we hear a lot about scouts and the job they do. As Rivera reaches down to get it, sends it out in the left field, rolls all the way to the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes another aggressive base running. As both De Aza and Plawecki score, and the Mets take the lead 2-1.
Well, Tough given the green light here on the back runner. Nice hitting right there. Looked like a changeup out in front. Kept his hands back. Ripped down the left field line. Now the fundies here on the relay throw. The back runner, Plawecki. He's going to rely totally on Tough right here. Tough's giving him the green light, and the overthrow. The cutoff man, no chance. Had a shot to get Plawecki if he hit the cutoff man.
I mean, his throw, Aaron Hicks was supposed to go to Didi Gregorius, and it airmailed him by 25 feet.
I can never understand why outfielders overthrow cutoff men like that when the outfielders are down the line, Ronnie.
Yeah.
When the outfielders, the infielders are way out in the outfield. It's an easy throw. It's right
not
there.
that far. Yeah.
You don't have to, just throw him a nice strike. Because you're making the play off the wall. You're not going to have no one has an arm to throw a one-hopper from the 338 line.
Granderson to the right side. Ackley knocks it down, but it can't make the play until the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out.
See if they roll this a hit. I think it's got to be an error, but you never know down here.
I think they're going to rule it a hit, Keith.
That's, you know what?
On the backhand.
Here's the big leagues.
Yeah, I agree.
E4. But it'll be a hit, I bet you.
Keith, you said something interesting there. I don't get it either, because if you're an outfielder and throwing in, where are you going to err? Err low. Because if it one hops the shortstop, he can still make a play, but he can't make a play on something over his head.
Exactly. Did they rule? I guess they gave him a base hit.
It was a base hit.
Yep. Very generous.
Where were these guys when you were playing, Keith?
Red Foley was a hit. Jeez, Red wouldn't give you a hit. Stingy.
Asdrubal Cabrera 0 for 2 on the day. Do you think that the scoring has gotten easier over the years?
I do. I do think it's become a little. And you had a lot of the old school guys when we played that were around in the 40s. There were older guys. That was back in the days, when the beat writers would cover a team for 30 years. Yeah. That doesn't happen anymore. So Red Foley, the late Red Foley, was a terrific guy. He used to give him all kinds of needle him all the time about a home book hit. He did not agree with that.
1-0 pitch to Cabrera, and it's knocked down over at first. Romero, and another aggressive base running job by TJ Rivera, who would have been out at home, but it was dropped, and so the Mets take the lead 3-1.
Now, is that going to be an E2 on the catcher?
It should be, because the ball was there in time, and he just dropped it.
Well, the first baseman here, Davinson Romero, after he didn't make this play, the ball's hit so hard you want to get the lead runner and do a normal double play. So this doesn't happen. That should be an E2 on the catcher.
Because of the new rules, these catchers are so cognizant of where they're putting their feet. Sometimes they forget that you're supposed to catch the ball.
I think the official scorekeeper here is too much is happening for him. It's sensory overload.
Yoenis Cespedes singles into right field, going to give the Mets a 4-1 lead. as Curtis Granderson scores the 4th run for the Amazons.
Well, Cespedes on a breaking ball. Certainly is. He keeps his hands back, very strong.
Well, it looks like Kaprielian has run out of gas here in the 2nd inning. Very effective his 1st inning through, but Mets getting to him here in the bottom of the 5th.
2nd hit of the game for Yoenis Cespedes. What's it like for a young pitcher like this who's in trouble, facing a really good Mets lineup today in the spring?
Well, you're so pumped up when you go out there because you really want to show, show your mettle for the manager and the pitching coach. Cespedes is replaced by Lagares, who pinch runs for him. Sometimes there's a letdown in that 2nd inning, and I think that's what's happened to Kaprielian. There's Lagares at first.
Lagares had a big day yesterday against the Braves in just outside of Disney World.
Got himself 2 hits, 2 for 2. And also Wilmer Flores had a big day, 3 hits yesterday.
Lucas Duda 0 for 3 on the day. 0 for 2, I should say. Mets have put 4 runs up here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Take a 4-1 lead on the Yankees. We're going to look at the manager, Terry Collins. We had him on one of our hot stove shows. And I think he's really relishing the late career success that he's going through right now.
Well, he is one of the great guys. I don't know, there's not that many baseball lifers anymore. We see a lot of the managers now are guys that don't have a lot of experience or no experience getting the jobs, and these baseball lifers who that's all they've known don't get the opportunity, and when they do and turn it into what Terry has, it's good to see.
Lucas Duda walks. Joe Girardi makes his way out to the mound, and that's going to mean a pitching change for the Yankees. Mets have 2 on. They've got 4 runs up on the board, and the rally continues. In New York. Nick Goody is the new Yankee pitcher, 24-year-old right-hander, 6th-round pick by the Yankees out of LSU back in 2012, and he faces the 9th batter of the inning. Neil Walker with runners at first and second, pinch runners. Juan Lagares down at second, and Dominic Smith, who's come in to pinch run at first.
First pitch, a breaking ball. The Yankees did an amazing job last year. They had 56 players, 31 pitchers that they shuttled back and forth from Scranton, Wilkes-Barre when they needed relief pitching. Joe Girardi would use a pitcher, and if he pitched too many innings and he needed a guy for the next day, they'd bring another guy up. And Goody was one of those.
5 different stints with the Yankees last year? Wow. He's ahead 0-2 right now on Walker, who skies one into center field. Dustin Fowler makes the catch. Mets get 4, take the lead 4-1. Travis Tyrone is the new Mets pitcher, and with that, we set it down right now to Steve Gelbs. I take that back. Seth Lugo is the new pitcher. I set it back down to Steve Gelbs right now. He's with the starting pitcher, Jacob deGrom.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Here with Jacob deGrom. And Jake, for you, especially now as you're just getting going in spring training, what are you trying to get out of these early starts?
Yeah, today I was just trying to locate, which I didn't do a very good job of. You know, I threw a ball halfway up the backstop, which is kind of rare for me.
That wasn't what you were trying to do there?
No, that wasn't what I was trying to do. But, you know, try to locate, mix in all the pitches. You know, the results obviously weren't exactly what I wanted, but, hey, it's spring training and you're working on things.
Is it easier for you now, especially, you know, given what you've established, to let days like that where it's just not there what you're looking to do just kind of roll off your back this early?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it was just one of those days. I think that's only my second time facing hitters. I threw one live BP and then had that little groin thing where the second one I didn't throw, so that was my second time out there facing hitters. So it's a little different when somebody steps in, so this one's going to be easy to let go.
Have you, as you look back on last season, it was such an incredible year for the team, but really for you personally as well. So many great moments, the All-Star appearance, and obviously what you were able to do in the postseason. Is there one moment that stands out above the rest for you?
You know, last year was a great year. You know, I don't think one stands out over the other. I mean, probably making it to the World Series is probably the highlight of it. You know, that's what the what the team's goal was, and the goal was to win it. We fell a little short, and that's our goal again this year. So hopefully we make it back.
It's so interesting with you because really since the moment you came up, it seemed really seamless for you, and you really haven't had any moments where it seemed like you took a big jump because you were always so dominant from really the first time you did come up. What though did you think you improved upon last season from the first season that maybe we wouldn't be able to tell?
I would probably say throwing off speed in different counts, maybe behind in the count, throwing some off speed just to keep the batter off balance a little bit. I think when I first came up, if it was 2-0, I'd probably throw a fastball, but now I'm more likely to maybe throw a changeup in there and keep them off balance a little more. So I think just having more confidence in my pitches. Is
there something in this spring training that you're trying to perfect a little bit more? Is there one pitch in particular you're focusing on?
Yeah, I'm still working on the changeup. That was one of my probably my second best pitch last year, and I got away from it a little bit towards the end of the year, so just continue working on that.
Jake, final thing. For a team like you that goes into this season with such high expectations, coming off such an incredible year, is it difficult not to look too far ahead? Is it difficult to just focus on the here and now?
Yeah, I think so. The goal, like we said, is to win the World Series. So, but you got to take it one day at a time. So I think everybody understands that, and we all got our head wrapped around that goal. But, it's one day at a time, working hard every day and trying to get to that goal.
I know I said last thing, but I'm going to ask you one more. Dan Worthen has said that as a group, this pitching staff, he has not seen one collectively more focused as Headley strikes out right there. So 2 away. Is that the sense you get, though? Have you ever been a part of a group at any level that has had this type of focus?
No, I don't think so. These guys are great to be around and great to watch pitch. I learn a lot from them just watching them go out there. And, like I said, the whole team's goal is the World Series. So, I think everybody, like I said, got their head wrapped around that. And, I think it starts with our starting pitching. And, we had a good group of starters, and it should be a fun year.
Good group. Might be understating it a little bit. Jacob deGrom, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Steve.
Gary.
All right, Steve, that interview brought to you by Citi. Seth Lugo has been impressive, retiring the first 2 batters that he's faced. Aaron Hicks and Chase Headley facing Dustin Ackley, who's 1 for 2. He singled in the second inning and grounded down to first base in the third.
It was a good interview by Steve, and it really shows. I mean, one of the reasons I think, Keith, you and I love him so much in the booth, deGrom just keeps it simple. You know what I mean? There's no overthinking. He's working on a couple of things, but he knows where his strengths are. And that's why I said in the open, I still see room for improvement. And these guys are already great. But to be truly great, you got to do it for multiple seasons, for 4, 5, 6 years in a row. That's not that easy.
How about Dan Worthen? The chance, I mean, it's got to be a pitching coach's dream to work with a staff like this. Dustin Ackley sends one down into right field, going to go all the way to the wall. He's round first into second with a stand-up double.
Well, this is the first game this spring where I've seen the hitters really hitting the ball hard.
You know what you're seeing too, Keith? A lot of breaking balls being hit for base hits, which you don't usually see early in spring because it takes the hitters a while. It's interesting. I think because the game is a 12-month game now, the pitchers come to spring training throwing a lot of breaking pitches. I literally would not throw any breaking pitches once I had a position on the team. We're talking about 85, 86 and on. I would throw mostly fastballs the first 2 or 3 times out just to get arm strength. That is not done as much anymore. Guys are ready to go with their full repertoire.
Ronald Torreyes is the pinch runner at second. Gary Sanchez 0 for 2 on the day for the Yankees. Seth Lugo spent the majority of last season with Binghamton AA of the Eastern League. 26 years old, 6'4", 225 pounds, and that one's hammered just wide of third.
Broken bat. How about being a young pitcher in the Mets organization right now? I mean, they have a lot of good, talented young guys, Logan Verrett and others, but they're behind some of the best in baseball with Harvey, Syndergaard, Matz, deGrom, Wheeler when he comes back.
How hard is it for those young pitchers?
You know, it was very similar to the mid-'80s when the Mets had some really good pitchers. There was a lot of guys in AAA that ended up being AAA pitchers for most of their career. Should they have been in the big leagues? Probably, but there was no room for them.
Lugo ahead, 1-2 on Sanchez. Stays alive. Well, Bartolo Colon, 41 last year, 42 this year. Tied with deGrom for the team lead in wins a season ago. Harvey pitched 3 innings yesterday. Syndergaard going to make his first start of the spring tomorrow. And then, of course, Steven Matz, the 5th member of the starting staff from a season ago.
Pretty impressive whips, Ronnie.
If you're around one, you are styling. And they have 3 guys.
Popped up into center. Lagares gliding back, settles under it, and makes the catch. How about that right there?
Nice.
That's pretty impressive. Mets lead it 4-1. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Johnny Manel leads it off for the Amazons. Takes first pitch downstairs.
So the Mets now have 2 guys from the Bronx.
Yep.
On the field now. Johnny Manel catching and T.J. Rivera at third base.
In there for a called strike. Nick Goody still on the mound for the Yankees. Manel pops it up. Torreyes, who's into the game at second base, settles under it to make the catch. Well, sights and sounds, spring training so far. Some images as Steven Matz made his first start of the spring on Monday. What is it? What is it about the spring that brings such renewed vigor to everybody?
You know, there's nothing like spring training and you're thrown on those mounds next to your buddies. And if you've got a good pitching staff like the Mets have, guys are just lighting it up. You can hear the popping of the gloves.
Ty Kelly, his first at bat of the game, facing Goody. Kill Morris is up for the Mets in the bullpen.
64. I'll always remember that number with the Mets because in spring training of 1984, the Mets had a 19-year-old kid named Dwight Gooden who had number 64 on, who made the ball club. I'll never forget that number. Saw him pitch in the first game and said, "Who's this kid with the 64?" And after he threw, I was like, "Oh, well, he's not going to have 64 long."
Settled into 16 quite well.
Yes, he did.
Popped up on the infield. Ref Snyder, new third baseman. Today at 5, Jonas Schwartz and a panel of New York sports writers tackle all the latest on NFL free agency, plus reports from both Mets and Yankees camp on Daily News Live, presented by Citi. Today at 5, only right here on SNY. Kevin Plawecki's got 2 hits on the day. Plawecki hit just .219 last season. They think he can be a considerably better hitter than that.
He had trouble with the breaking ball last year, and it was tough. He came up, and remember, we all think in terms of the Mets being the National League champions, but the first 4 months of the season, it was a .500 team. A little bit under, a little bit over, couldn't score runs, and he was thrown into that lineup where everybody was struggling. And when you're a young hitter, it really weighs on you. The veterans can handle it better, but when you're young, you can kind of get swept up in it. And I thought he did a terrific job. He just started pulling a little bit too much, had a little difficulty with the breaking ball, but I thought subbing for d'Arnaud when he went down, he did a good job.
Plawecki goes down looking at a called third strike. We go to the 7th with the Mets leading the Yankees 4-1. Morris is the new Mets pitcher, facing Chris Parmelee here in the 7th inning. Outside for a ball. Let's send it back downstairs to Steve Gelb. Steve?
Thanks, Gary. Here with Curtis Granderson. Made his spring training debut today. And Curtis, I mean, the first question has to be about the eye, which we don't really know what was wrong with it, but the fact of the matter is it's better now?
Yeah, everything is good. Hold on one second. Knock it down. All right, good. That's when we like spring training. We like Mother Nature to take care of some things, and that was definitely a Mother Nature double right there. So help this out. We'll get out of this, hopefully. But back to your original question. My eyes didn't have any, effects in terms of irritation, scratch, vision, anything like that. It just wanted to get the contacts out so we can hopefully clear up whatever was in there, whether it be an infection, bacteria, scratch, particle in there, whatever it was. We just had to get that taken care of, which we were able to do. And now we're back and good to go, minus the wind. I'm always a squinty type person and an allergic type person at this time of year. I'm good to go.
Well, we saw you today. I mean, you didn't look like there were any ill effects at the plate. And I actually saw you working on the backfields alone in right field today. Was that just something trying to make sure the eye was okay in terms of that position as well?
The big thing was just the games that I'd missed. I'm trying to do the things that I didn't get a chance to do in the previous games I would have played in. So that's throwing the bases, taking a little extra hitting, make sure we're doing the conditioning, all those different things that, although we practice it, you have those things that happen over the course of the game that you try to do as much as you can. And today, jogging in, jogging back 5 different times is one of those things that you just can't mirror, and the legs are starting to feel it already.
Romero flies out, 1 away. As you look towards this season now, Curtis, you've been in this position many times before, really, in Detroit and with the Yankees, teams with very, very high expectations. How does that change the situation for a team? What is different about the season when you have those expectations?
I think there's no surprises anymore. I think that it's real easy to look back and say, okay, we've heard of this Matz, we've heard of Syndergaard, we've heard of deGrom, but we've never faced them. Let's see what they have. And oh wow, they actually are as good as everybody anticipates. None of that's going to happen this year. Everyone knows exactly what they're getting on the outside coming in. So it brings a much more heightened level of competition and focus when you see that you're going to be playing against us, both from a pitching standpoint, including our offense. We've made some key additions with Asdrubal Cabrera,
Neil Walker,
and Cespedes coming back, and we have a mixture of things that we go ahead and bring damage to, that we have the potential to do those things.
What about for you? Last offseason, you really reworked your entire swing in terms of how you set up. This offseason, was it just about maintaining, or were there any light tweaks you still had to make?
There's always a fine tune, and maintain was a big thing. I went to go see Kevin Long in Arizona in January, just like I did the year before, and wanted to make sure we were where we were. You go a whole couple months without swinging the bats, you got to make sure that you're getting back on that bike again, that you don't fall off like you may or may not. So Kevin's able to do a really good job of just getting back to the basics, and we were able to do that, take that to Chicago for the rest of the offseason, and try to do those same things once spring training started.
Last year you had the league lead in leadoff home runs, but at the same time you walked almost 100 times. As a hitter, how do you balance out between being patient but also knowing when to turn it up a little bit?
I think the confusing side of things is everyone assumes that I'm up there looking to take and draw a walk. But one of the approaches that we have as an organization, if you see strikes, you attack strikes. Easier said than done. As long as I can do that, if there's pitches that happen to be balls, that's where the walk total will go up. If I happen to get strikes and we're able to put a good swing on it, that's how the home run total goes up. So it's trying to find that balance and stay within it, and also realizing that I got a bunch of great hitters behind me. I don't have to do a ton up there. All I got to do is pass it to the next guy in the lineup.
After that wild pitch, the Yankees trail now 4-2. Last thing, Curtis, the one thing offensively last year that you struggled with was your at-bats against lefties. Is it something that you look at now as an adjustment you have to make mentally?
Mother Nature, knock it down again. See, that's what we're talking about. Way to be Port St. Lucie, knocking balls down.
Let's wrap this up quickly, though. So when you look at your numbers against lefties last year, is it a mechanical adjustment you have to make, or is it just about seeing more lefties early on?
The big thing is frequency. You know, you look at the year before, my numbers against lefties were pretty good, and then you go another year, and all of a sudden my numbers against lefties aren't as good. And early on in the beginning of the season, we didn't face too many of them. There's not too many in the National League East. You know, you have Gio Gonzalez. We have two of, well, we had two of them with Neese and Matz. Neese is now in the Central. Matz is still with us. The Marlins, I'm not sure if they got lefty started. The Braves did, but they've traded some of those guys away. Who knows what'll come up? So hopefully you get a chance to see some a little more often. If you don't, a guy like Kevin Long that can throw left-handed batting practice definitely helps out, so we're not surprised and shocked when the infrequencies happen in terms of when you're going to face them.
Curtis, if you have as much success calling baseball plays as you do hitting lefties, you'll be fine this year. Thanks so much. We'll be back after this.
TJ Rivera leads it off here in the bottom of the 7th for the Mets, facing Johnny Barbado, the 23-year-old right-hander from Miami, Florida, on the mound now for the Yankees.
Barbado, a big guy, good breaking ball. Rivera, that 2-run double in the 5th, big hit in this game. Jim Henderson up for the Mets. He's had a couple of good appearances so far early in spring, as Terry Collins wants him to make the ball club.
Those last couple of spots back into the bullpen still up for grabs, and Henderson had such good success back in 2012 with the Brewers. He's shown he can do it at this level.
Some minor league totals for Johnny Barbado. Good name, by the way.
Rivera lifts it out into left field. First out of the inning. Coming up tonight at 6, join the discussion as a panel of team of insiders connect with fans via social media, tackle all your questions about the latest Mets news, plus game highlights, up-to-the-minute reports from camp. It's Mets Talk Live, presented by Rally BMW, coming up tonight at 6, only right here on SNY.
Oh.
Travis Tyrone made that great catch to end the last inning. Flies one down the right field line. Second out of the inning is Aaron Judge, who's just into the game, makes the catch.
It's always an adventure in Florida with the winds for outfielders. Nothing is for certain.
Ruben Tejada.
Interesting the way his season ended so tragically last year. Nice hand for Ruben.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Yeah. Nice.
So 2 outs, nobody on here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Mets lead the Yankees 4-2. Mets getting 4 runs in the 5th. Take the lead. It was interesting with Tejada, the year that he had last year, came back, won eventually as they went along, the starting shortstop position, then the way the season ended, and I think questions about what his place is going to be on this team. Will he even be on this team? Backing out of play.
Well, there's the cross body block. I have a feeling with Ray Knight at third base, Utley never would have made it back into the dugout.
That is correct, sir.
1-1, Barbado to Ruben Tejada.
You know, the significance of that play, just like the Posey block of home plate, is that a rule was changed. Because of that play, a rule was changed now at second base. And I don't know if you guys read the comments by Chase Utley, met by reporters. He said he would, if he could, take it back, that slide and injuring Tejada.
Well, there was no intent to hurt someone there, I guarantee. I know Chase is a good guy.
Oh, bounced down the ground to shortstop and booted.
Well, that is just, you got a runner in Tejada who's not a speed merchant, and you come in on a run like this instead of plenty of time to come in collected, get in front of the ball, 2 hands, and it's an easy out. Not a good play.
It's Jorge Mateo, who's considered the top prospect in the Yankees organization. Young man, just 20 years old. Gavin Cecchini now into pinch run at first base. Speaking of top prospects.
Number 1 pick for the Mets, right?
Yes.
Juan Lagares gets a crack at the bat here. At the plate, I should say. He would like to get a crack at the bat. Crack of the bat. Oh, nice breaking ball.
You know, both Lagares and De Aza thought their roles were going to be different this year. And that it certainly changed when Mets ended up signing Yoenis Cespedes. And he's come to camp really looking good. He's down 20 pounds. Terry Collins cannot stop raving about how good a shape Lagares is in.
Yeah, he's raving about him, but he probably is going to have the same role he had after July 31st last season.
Yeah, he's not. He's going to be coming for a lot for defense. You're going to see a lot of Lagares going in late to center field. Cespedes moving to left. We saw that last year. And
he'll get the start against the lefties.
The youngster Conforto coming off the field.
Yep.
Still would like to see them take a look at Conforto at first base, see what kind of hands he has with the ground, with ground balls, and get him familiar with that position.
Lagares goes down swinging. So Johnny Barbado works around the error at short. MLB.tv. Jim Henderson is the new pitcher for the Mets, following deGrom and Blevins, Reed, Lugo, and Morris.
Boy, in AAA last season in 29 games, but Henderson, who was the closer for the Brewers, had a great one season. They would like for that to happen here in the Mets uniform.
Jorge Mateo, young shortstop, made that error. Yankees coming off an 87-win season a year ago. Blue Jays just motored past that offense in Toronto. I would imagine it makes them the favorites again in the AL East.
Yeah, but when you think about the Yankees, you're always used to, or maybe we are used to, the Yankees making a lot of moves. Ground ball to shortstop. Caccini with the play.
That guy can fly.
Can fly.
Woo!
Well, this ball was hit hard, and there's no time for any wasted motion. Oh, a little double pump there. That's not good. Just got him.
I was saying about the Yankees, but there wasn't a lot of things done by the Yankees, but they did get Chapman, and that's really the story of the Yankees, isn't it? Is that their bullpen at the back end is going to strike out the world.
Will they get the same kind of year out of Andrew Miller?
Yeah.
Andrew Miller had a terrific year from the left side.
Well, he had 100 strikeouts. Betances well over 100 strikeouts. So some of the best unhittable arms in that bullpen. Of course, Chapman's going to miss the first 30 games.
Jonathan Diaz is the batter facing Jim Henderson. As we get a look at numbers, and boy, that's, you know, the Yankees are constructed to have a bunch of 5- and 6-inning pitchers to get to these guys.
I mean, strikeouts per 9 innings, that is off the charts.
Yeah.
But, you know, what's interesting about it is, you know, Brian Cashman, really smart, one of the smartest GMs in baseball, he knew what he had in the ball club. His starting rotation, guys like Tanaka, CC, Pineda, and others, are more of the 18-out variety, 6 innings or so. So you're going to need that back of the bullpen to be strong if you have a lead. You don't really have anyone in that rotation who's going to, you know, go 7 or 8 innings in a start.
I kind of like the Yankees this year.
Okay.
If they stay healthy, I kind of like the Yankees to win the East.
Think Alex Rodriguez can have the same kind of year he did last year at 40 years old now? Because he had a pretty amazing year. I know he didn't finish strong, but...
What about your Bo Sox, Ronnie?
Well, I would say of the teams in that division, they're the most improved. I mean, they signed Price. They're able to get Craig Kimbrell.
Right.
So that's fantastic. And they've got so much young talent. I mean, it looks like Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to be their center fielder. Betts is going to move to right. We don't know if Rusney Castillo is going to play left field. But I think Xander Bogaerts at some point could be a batting champion or an MVP kind of player. But when you look at their Red Sox team, you know, the heart and soul of that team is Pedroia. And how many games is he going to play? Injuries all last season. The Baltimore Orioles spent the most money. They have the closest team to a Sunday morning slow-pitch softball team.
It's amazing. And they just signed Alvarez.
Alvarez, Trumbo, Davis.
Wieters, they hope he's going to have a big season.
You know, who's the guy to look for in Baltimore? I think he's going to be... is a player I don't think a lot of people know about. Jonathan Scope, their second baseman. Tremendous power. I think he's going to have an off-the-charts kind of year. So, folks, if you like following or you're a fantasy player, Scope might be a guy to look for.
They've not been afraid to spend money in Baltimore.
That's right.
They brought back O'Day. The Davis contract was $161 million. Wieters took the qualifying offer, but can they get outs? Well, they're going to score runs.
They lost Chen to the Marlins, but they signed Gallardo. So Giovanni Gallardo, they're hoping he can have another strong year. Gallardo did a nice job last year. You know, when you get Gallardo, you got a guy who's going to make 30 starts, pitch 200 innings, played a big part in the Texas Rangers winning their division last year. Tampa Bay Rays, when you stay in that division, they're the overachievers. They don't have a lot of names, but they kind of get the job done. And Chris Archer, their young pitcher, I think is a guy that could, if you were going to pre-pick a Cy Young guy for this year in the American League, you could maybe go there. And I left out Toronto, which has the bats. Donaldson with that MVP year. That's my man, Frank Viola. You're talking about Dan Wortham before. Frank's had a big part also in these young pitchers.
Not to be overlooked.
Not right now, though, because he's on his phone.
Rest Snyder. Hard hit ball right down to Herrera at second. And so Jim Henderson, impressive again. His impressive spring, it does continue. A beautiful day for a bike ride. Mets lead 4-2 heading to the bottom.
Sunday.
Don't delay. Lock in your seats now to the biggest games in 2016. A Mets ticket plan. Choose from a variety of plans that start at just 20 games, include potential 2016 postseason access. Visit Mets.com/plans or call 718-507-TIXX. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Brandon Pinder on to face Dominic Smith. Mets have a 4-2 lead. Both teams 7 hits on the day. Yankees have a couple of errors. Pinder, 27 years old, young man out of Corona, California. Made 6 stints with the Yankees in 2015, which you talked about, Ronnie, up and down, guys on that conveyor belt from Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, back up to the big leagues.
He's got a baby face. There's Bastardo, one of the great names in baseball.
Dominic Smith, a hard hit ball out to right field. Aaron Judge got turned around and he tracks it down. Youth sports, creating memories, friendships, changing lives. SNY's Play Ball program looking to help local leagues in need with grants, equipment, donations, and special clinics. If you know a local youth baseball or softball league in need, apply today at Facebook.com/SNY. Big crowd here at Tradition Field today. 7,558 sellout crowd. There's been big crowds since these games began. People are excited about this Mets team as Dilson Herrera steps in.
Well, you know you're going to have a lot of people in the ballpark and a standing room only when it's the Mets and Yanks.
But the Mets players should get used to this. It's going to be sold out every place they go, at home and on the road, because these pitchers, you want to see them.
And I like to watch this young man play right here at the plate. I've always been very high on Herrera. I know he struggled last year with the bat. He tore up AAA 2 years in a row. I like the way he got good hands, plays a good second base. He can run good enough, stays in on double plays. I like his swing. I think he's got a chance to be a good one. I really do.
3-0 count here to Herrera from Brandon Pinder. 0-2, and ERA just under 3. 25 relief appearances with the Yankees a year ago, and Herrera is aboard via the walk. Brings up Johnny Manel, who flied out second base his last time up in the 6th inning. Keith, is Manel somebody you'd feel comfortable with if indeed they do decide to send Plawecki down to AAA to begin the year?
Yeah, certainly. He's a Legigia left-handed bat. He's a dead fastball hitter right there. Absolutely. I mean, he's going to be mainly a backup. Herrera all the way to third on that, now is hesitating. Yes, I'm comfortable with that if you want to keep Plawecki sharp in the minor leagues. Actually, it's a hanger.
A lot of hanging breaking balls today.
Throwing up helicopters.
That's right.
Well, the Yankees are going to play it back for 2.
Ty Kelly, his second at bat. Mets have first and third, 1 out, bottom half of the 8th inning.
Well, there's your defense, and you can see the middle infielders are in double play position.
We're back here on SNY tomorrow afternoon. Mets and the Cardinals beginning at 1 o'clock. One of 2 games against the Cardinals this week. Also going to take on the Cards on Saturday. Game can be seen on Pix 11.
Gary, I stand corrected. You said we. I will not be here tomorrow.
Wow.
It's you and I, Gary.
You and Ronnie.
Well, I look forward to that.
I'll have everything covered. We're ready to go.
I'm back on Saturday.
Just you and I on Saturday.
And I look forward to that.
Will you be in front of the television tomorrow is the big question. Taking in the game.
I don't... let me think about that.
I guess that's the answer. That's right there.
That's a toughie.
Pinder misses again, goes to 3-0.
He will if they have a TV on at the place he's having lunch. I might watch it.
Ballnart calls strike on Kelly. Herrera on third. Manel on first, and Kelly takes a walk to load the bases.
Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach for the Yankees, out. So I got a little information for you already for tomorrow's game. Okay, yes. Johnny Peralta out 2 to 3 months with the thumb injury. Right. So Aledmus Diaz, that's how you pronounce his name. Okay. Not Aledmus, Aledmus Diaz, who went 4 for 4 in yesterday's game. Wow. Might be the heir apparent.
Unless they go out and make a move. But that is impressive.
That's your bounce pass for tomorrow. Keith's up here taking pictures.
As I'm gliding in right off the wing for a layup.
Did you notice the most important part of this game, spring training games? It is getting your tea and coffee in the second and third inning.
This was a nice energy boost. Just a little black tea lemonade. boosts up the sugar level.
Some of these games you got to go to the well twice.
So Pinder in trouble with the bases loaded, and Kevin Plawecki steps in, a chance to break it open here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out.
This is
takes ball 1.
Sorry, Gary. This has actually been a very crisp game.
Mark Montgomery up in the Yankees bullpen. Here's the 1-0 to Plawecki, and it's fouled straight back.
This is one of those games, if you're Mark Montgomery, you're sitting in the bullpen, and you figure that Pinder's got the bottom of the 8th, and you're like, all right, I'm not pitching today. And then they make the call down there that he's in trouble. Get loose.
Count even at 1. Bases loaded with Mets here in the bottom of the 8th. That's in there for a called strike.
Paul Nart, the home plate umpire, hearing it from Plawecki. He thought that ball was inside.
TJ Rivera waiting on deck. He's 1 for 3 on the day with a 2 RBI double in the 5th inning. Here's the 1-2. Hammered to the left side. And it's a 6-4, 5-4-3 double play to get the Yankees and Pinder out of trouble. Mets still lead it 4-2. We go now, top of the 9th inning, as we get a look at the upcoming schedule presented by WB Mason. That's going to take on the Cardinals back here at Tradition Field tomorrow. Then they're off to take on the Nationals in Vieira, and then back here. Another matchup with the Cardinals again on Saturday.
Oh, don't forget to bring your pick shirt. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I saw that.
Antonio Bastardo on to try and close it out in the 9th inning for the Mets. Four runs, 8 hits for the Mets, 2 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors for the Yankees.
Well, Bastardo is going to play a big role for the Mets. He's a power lefty, good changeup. Short of stature, but he can throw hard. If there's one tiny little Achilles heel for Bastardo, is that he can get a little wild.
When he first came up with the Phillies, he was a harder thrower. He's throwing around 89 now. He's not the hard thrower he used to be. Where's that pitch?
Ronald Torreyes ahead 2-1 on Bastardo.
Good numbers last year with Pittsburgh.
Mets coughed up a ninth inning lead yesterday up at Disney.
Lake Buena Vista? Is that where the
Lake
ballpark
Buena Vista
is?
Fell to the Braves by a 5-5 looking for a better fate here today. Count is even at 2. Bastardo up high, and Torreyes holds. Pimentel up in the Mets bullpen just in case. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Straightaway center field. Lagares has a beat on it, and that's the first out here in the ninth.
It's funny how this game works in spring training. The wind blowing in from right field out to left field. If it hadn't been, you've seen 4 or 5 home runs to right field today.
Yes.
Kyle Higashioka is the batter.
Really? Good.
Higashioka.
Excellent.
I spent 2 to 3 hours last night working on that.
Minor league camp. A lot of bodies over there.
Remember your days?
Oh, I sure do. Long days in minor league camp.
Just outside the bag down at third. When you're in that situation, young kid, minor league camp, do you ever think it's going to happen? I mean, how tough is it to say, gosh, I want to be there. I want to be there.
Well, I was 18 years old, 1 year removed from high school. And, you go in and there's it's like, 700 kids my first camp. Oh, bye-bye.
Oh, boy, that is a rocket. Ty Kelly doesn't even move, and Higashioka gets the Yankees within a run.
Well, that was a no-doubter. Right down Broadway.
Look how far that went.
That hurts your feelings as a pitcher when you hear that sound. Whoa.
Well, we love it.
So the Yankees back within a run here. 1 out in the ninth inning. Austin Romine pinch hitting.
It's the first time the left field's come into play. Before the game, I was telling you, Gary, that anything in the air to left field is going to be gone.
Got the different chance here. Dueling chance.
Romine known for his defense. Offense has been the big question for him.
My favorite part of this rivalry, I think, is something I saw today. I got out of my car, and there were some fans that got out of their minivan at the same time. There were 6 of them. 3 had Yankee jerseys on. 3 had Mets jerseys on. I love that. Inter-family rivalries.
That's the great thing about New York. I think Wall Street Journal did a poll, came out about 5 or 6 years ago, saying there were more Yankee fans but that Met fans were much more invested, much more intense, took it more personally.
Louder on Twitter.
Yes. Oh, gosh, I try not to. I'm not even going on there today. Filling in for Gary, I'm not even going on Twitter.
Very smart. See, that's a veteran. You know exactly where to go and where not to go.
Because that's my third hour on the couch in deep analyzation if I do go on Twitter. Grounded down to third. Rivera with the easy play, second out, and so the Yankees down to their final outs. Sebastian Valle, the final chance here for the Yanks.
I just noticed beautifully done Yankees jerseys with 8. You see that, Keith?
Yeah.
On the left patch, of course, for Yogi. Greatest Americans. Not only ball player, one of the greatest Americans.
No. Speaking of America, did you see yesterday they announced they're going to play the Braves and the Marlins at Fort Bragg on July 3rd to honor the military. I thought that was fantastic.
That's a great move. Great move.
I guess they're building a special park there.
Yeah, and those young folks that are training down there in the middle of summer get a break with some big league baseball.
Bastardo ahead. 0-1 count, evens at 1-1.
It doesn't seem like the teams do it as much anymore, but when we played, Keith, remember you'd always have 1 or 2 games during the year against your minor league affiliate. So you'd go down to, if you were the Mets, Jackson or Tidewater to play a game.
Know what I love that what the Mets did one year?
Oh, there's another hard hit ball to left field, and that one is gone, and we are tied at 4. Sebastian Valle, another bomb to left field off Bastardo. Antonio Bastardo giving up 2 deep home runs here in the top of the 9th.
He likes to throw that fastball, and I know it's early in spring, but they've been clobbering it. Oh, it's only spring training. It's okay. Hey. He should be more focused on his history lessons.
And this, And this young man that's up now had to get a new bat. He might have the most power of anyone in the Yankees camp. Aaron Judge, a behemoth of a man.
6 feet 7 inches tall, 245, 250 pounds.
It's a big strike zone, Ronnie.
Yes.
So the Yankees, with solo home runs from Higashioka and Valle, have come back to tie this game in the top of the 9th inning. Judge flares it out into right. Travis Tyrone is right there. So we're going to the bottom of the 9th inning, tied at 4.
Well, Terry asking politely, one more. What does Joe do? X for extras, only one. And if you're a Met fan, maybe the Mets will get a run and it won't have to go to 10.
Baseball sign language as Mark Montgomery comes in the game. See his minor league numbers last year.
Mets already have one tie this spring as Rivera leads off against Montgomery here in the bottom of the ninth. Is this about the time, Keith, that you start contemplating what the traffic is going to be like getting out of the yard today?
It's about the time I'm going to get on the horn and get George C. Scott as Patton to come out and direct track the divisions out of here.
See, you hold that kind of power. Much to the dismay of people waiting in line until you leave.
Popped up into center field.
I personally have not figured out how to get out of this ballpark, so I just wait.
No, it's just, I took a nap the other day. Yesterday? 2 days ago?
Yeah.
It was an hour. I turned the car around and reparked, put the recline back on my seat, lowered the windows, and took a nap.
Very nice.
Travis Tyrone with one out here in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, you got the perfect storm here. You have a tied game. You go in extra innings. It's a Yankee-Met game. Everyone's into it and wants to watch every pitch, so they'll all be here when the game ends.
Oh, one is up high.
There's the issue. Let me tell you, look at that. Look what they've done. They close off the fast lane, and people on the grass, they're further out, they get to use that lane, and they skate out quick. But the people that are in closer, that really have the prime parking area, they get nailed. It's terrible. Whoever thought of that.
So the 1%ers are getting nailed? Is that what you're saying here?
Well, Jacob deGrom got the start here for the Mets today. His first start of the spring looked very good.
Well, you know what's interesting, Gary, is that they have started these pitchers, a little later than they wanted to because of all the innings they had in the postseason last year. But Harvey went 3 innings yesterday, and deGrom 3 innings today. That's pushing it an inning extra as strikeout there from Montgomery. Good breaking ball.
Second out here, bottom of the ninth. That brings up Gavin Cecchini. Steve Donahue, the longtime Yankees trainer, alongside Joe Girardi. The sun is shining brightly here in Port St. Lucie. Still 80 degrees as we are coming up on 3:40 Eastern time. Count even 1-1.
Nice.
Cecchini reaching out, dumping a single into right field.
Nice little breaking ball, stays in. Oh, he bailed, just kept his hands back. Got fooled on that. Good recovery.
So Juan Lagares, a chance to send everybody home happy, at least if you're a Mets fan here at Tradition Field. Montgomery trying to keep Cicchini close over there at first. Cicchini, one of a number of first-round picks right out of high school over the last few years by the Mets. Brandon Nimmo, another one. Dominic Smith. Lagares had a very good postseason offensively last year. Sort of found his rhythm in that role that he was thrust into, that role that you guys spoke about earlier. He's going to be put into again this year. Takes a called strike. Both teams have 4 runs. Both teams have 9 hits. One pitch to Lagares, and he grounds one to Mateo at short. Goes the short way to second, and we're heading for an extra inning of play. Pimentel coming in for the Mets. Extra Innings on SNY is brought to you by Nissan. Get great offers on 5 exciting new models at Nissan today. Shop ChooseNissan.com today. Stolmy Pimentel is the new pitcher for the Mets.
Giant.
Big man, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 230 pounds. Facing off against Lane Adams.
Northwest Arkansas Naturals in AA last year.
Big swing and a miss. I know this is awful. Somebody could say to him, geez, you're a natural. Like, well, yeah, played for the Naturals. I know that's awful. I couldn't resist. We're in the 10th inning.
I think you're right. Don't read Twitter.
Pimentel ahead 1-2. Pimentel opened last season with the Texas Rangers. Lindgren in the Yankees bullpen getting ready.
Spring training, it's the one thing that is the same in every camp, is that you have these guys coming in that are hopefuls, just hoping that they can impress enough to make a ball club. Most don't. You know, when these players are signed, people say to yourself, well, you know, how's he going to help the big league club? Sometimes it's not the big league club. You need to have pitchers in your AA and AAA farm system also ready to come up if injuries occur.
1-2 pitch to Adams. Evens the count at 2. Up high to load the count.
Well, considering the swing he had earlier in the count, it's 3-2. You're pretty sure you're going to get a fastball. I think Mr. Adams is going to let it fly here.
Straight back. Back goes Manel, and he has room and makes the catch. Hits the screen pretty hard.
Nice play. Oh, he hit the camera there? What is that, the radar?
Maybe the speed gun?
Speed gun? Okay, that sounds right. Got his elbow right there. Ouch.
Yep. Nice play by Johnny Manel. So one out here in the top of the 10th inning. Jorge Mateo. Flails at an off-speed pitch, and Pimentel ahead 0-2.
So you're not going to see any more speeds on our broadcast here because of Johnny Manel.
Knocked out the radar gun?
Yes, done.
Toast.
We're always asking for it to be eliminated anyway. Now finally we got it.
It's not even focused on the mound. It got knocked cockeyed.
1-2, and that's hit hard, but foul down the left field line. So we saw Jacob deGrom today. We're going to get a chance to see Noah Syndergaard.
That's right.
His first outing of the spring tomorrow. Popped up. Shallow right field. Herrera called off. Cecchini ends up coming over to make the catch.
Could have been either his ball. They're both, really, it's Herrera's ball. He was camped under it, but nice play. And we'll see Herrera calling it off.
Jonathan Diaz now for the Yankees.
What is that?
That's a hat on a hat.
That's called Margaritaville. That's what that's called.
The wow. Phyllis Diller. She used to wear stuff like that.
Was she on Laughing?
Yes, of course. She was at everything. She used to always wear those funky little kind of furry things. And her dog Fang. Wow.
Anyone under the age of 30 is now Googling Keith.
Right. She was funny.
She was one of the, actually, one of the breakthrough comedians, female comedians.
Yep. I think Carson took a liking to her.
Yes, he did.
She was on the Tonight Show.
She was hilarious. She always had the cigarette with the cigarette holder.
Right.
Filter.
To Diaz, and he goes down swinging. And so Stolny Pimentel getting the job done, and we head for the bottom of the 10th. We get a look at today's line score, and same time, get a look inside the Mets radio booth. Wayne.
Josh and Wayne.
Josh
got a lot of energy, doesn't he?
And Howie is, of course, with the Islanders right now. Up north.
The Icelanders, in the words of Steve Summers.
That's right. So Howie's with the Islanders. Gary's with Seton Hall because it's basketball time.
Jacob Lindgren is the new Yankees pitcher, going to be 23 years old in 3 days. Taken by the Yankees in the second round of the 2014 draft. Seven relief appearances with the Yankees, a season ago. Smith grounds one to second. That's the first out here. Bottom of the 10th inning is Torreyes. Handles it easily.
For you folks who weren't watching before, both Girardi and Terry Collins with the baseball sign language said that this will be the end of the game. Mets score or don't.
Dilson Herrera walked in the 8th inning. Takes a called strike one from Lindgren.
This is my first call of the year. Keith, he's going deep.
Oh, okay.
End this thing. All right?
Okay. I'm with you. I'm for it.
Well, he's got really good power for a compact player.
Well, he's short, but he's strong. I mean, if you see him in the locker room, he looks like a middleweight fighter.
He's like a fire plug. That's what he is.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Count even at 2. And Herrera goes down on strikes with a mighty cut.
He brought him to his knees.
0 for 1 in my calls.
Nevin Ashley is the pinch hitter for the Mets. So this is going to be it. Bottom of the 10th inning. The managers, as the guys spoke about, decided they'll play the 1 extra inning. Ashley flares one out into right field, so not finished yet. As Ty Kelly comes up.
Have a pinch runner out there, Danny Muno.
You know, I'm asked all the time in these games, why do they end up in a tie? Why don't they just keep playing? But each manager has an allotted number of pitchers they're going to use today. And once they run through those, game's over.
To second, thought about going to third, but he stops there in scoring position now.
Third Yankee error of the game, and it should have been the 4th with some generous scoring early. Bad throw in the dirt.
Well, that was a good job by Muno. He took such a big lead that Lindgren had to throw over, and he tried that step off and throw over, and it was not good.
Ty Kelly a chance to send the Mets home a winner here today.
Well, he does the right thing here, pulling up. And the ball's behind him. He's going to go strictly relying on his third base coach, Tim Tuffle. And you're already in scoring position. You don't want to push it.
Can't make the last out of third.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of rules working against them there.
I was answering the question that was posed by our director, Bill Webb, in our ear. You folks didn't hear it. He played the replay. We answered.
So Webby's like the great Santini.
He asks, you answer.
That's right. All the time. Doesn't really ask, Webby. Kind of demands.
27-year-old Ty Kelly ahead in the count, 2-0. And takes a called strike. Seems like the perfect time to talk about the umpires. Nart, Hernandez, Buckner, Lentz. You want to get them in before you leave.
That's right. Well, Paul Nart's one of the best umpires in all of baseball. His zone has been a little larger than it is during the regular season. Understandably so. A lot of times that'll happen in spring training. They're finding their rhythm, too.
Inside to Kelly, and so now runners at first and second with 2 outs for the Mets. And a chance for Kevin Plawecki.
We were just talking, Ron, and Gary and I the other day, Gary Cohn, about the new 30-second rule on the mound, when coaches or managers go out to the mound, they have a 30-second time limit to be talking to the pitchers. And there you go. So does it start when he walks from the mound?
It started when he walked out of the dugout. Yeah.
Boy, that's a little rough.
Well, some of these guys are going to get on their horse and start getting out there a little quicker. And no movement by the umpires as they're letting them go past 30 seconds.
Yeah, the shot clock has expired.
Exactly.
And nothing's been done about it.
That's not a lot of time, you know.
No, it isn't.
It should be. And my feeling is it should be 30 seconds once the pitching coach gets out on the mound.
Well, the bigger question is, in the spring training game, why would you be going out to the pitcher in 2 outs? I mean, this is really the obvious, got to get an out.
Kevin Plawecki swings at first pitch. Plawecki singled in the 2nd inning, also in the 5th, and scored. Get into a double play in the 8th. Jacob Lindgren trying to get the Yankees out of a jam here in the 10th. 1st and 2nd with 2 outs.
He doesn't want a Larry in the paper tomorrow.
In there for a called strike 2. Oh-2 pitch to Plawecki.
Steady diet of breaking balls. Obviously, that's what Larry Rothschild came out and talked to Lindgren about. Is that the last thing that comes, Keith, is a younger hitter ability to hit the breaking ball?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think all hitters, they're fastball hitters. That's what gets them here. If you can't hit the fastball, you're not going to get to the big leagues.
That's right.
What separates the big boys from the little boys is you become a good breaking ball hitter.
Question is, did that hit Plawecki? And I think it did.
Yes, it did.
Well, here we go. Little Archie Bell and the Drells here.
Well, it makes sense with this slider that they tell you throw it on the back foot, or he did, but it hit him in the front foot. But it seems appropriate that T.J. Rivera would be up. He had probably the biggest hit for the Mets in this game.
Rivera 2-run double in the 5th inning. Now a chance to win it. Muno down at 3rd. Kelly at 2nd. Plawecki at 1st. 2 outs. Jacob Lindgren trying to weasel his way out of trouble here in the 10th inning.
Okay. Fell behind 1-0 in that breaking ball. Now what are you going to do? The Sox are drunk, as we say in baseball parlance.
Into center field, and right there to make the catch is Adams, and that's going to end it. So the Mets loaded the bases here in the 10th inning, but could not get the game winner home. Game summary is the Mets, their 2nd tie of the spring. 10 hits, no errors for the Amazons, 4 runs, 9 hits, 3 errors for the Yankees. Jacob deGrom went 3 innings, his first start of the spring, 5 hits, a run. He struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Nissan. Get great offers on 5 exciting new models at Nissan today. Shop ChooseNissan.com today. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By Verizon, better matters. And by Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. Once again, final score from down here at Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie. The Mets 4 and the Yankees 4. Our next broadcast here on SNY is coming up tomorrow right here from Tradition Field. The St. Louis Cardinals come to town. Game time is 1 o'clock. And so for Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling, I'm Gary Apple. We thank you for joining us. Curtis Granderson was back. Mets defense rock solid. Jacob deGrom, great to see him back. Yoenis Cespedes getting the start in center, and T.J. Rivera, the big mid-game double. We'll see you tomorrow.